Hey guys, Nate here, Power Pro Equipment, New Holland. Today is actually a pretty exciting day. We are going to bring to you the Toro Dingo. We recently brought this on the Toro construction lineup at Power Pro, and today I'm going to give you a quick overview of the TX1000, the newer version, and we're going to get into it.
At Power Pro, we have the power you need.
All right, so I want to explain to you why I'm so excited and what I absolutely love about what Toro did with the new Dingos. So it's all the little small things that they did new that'll make any operator get on there and look like a seasoned pro. So let's jump into it a little bit on the older ones versus the newer ones. So right away, you're going to see the sticker here, vertical lift. So what that means is the lift is going to go straight up now instead of the old 1000s where they did the radial lift of where it would go out the tipping point and then come back on you to keep the weight on the machine. It's more of a straight up, so you have ease of reaching 30-yard dumpsters, no problem. I believe the height is 81 inches at the hinge point. Now the other thing they did that you're going to see on the side here is they went from the Kubota 3-cylinder naturally aspirated diesels to the Yanmar turbo diesels. What that allows you to do is not have any of the emissions on there, but it widens the band of where you can operate this machine safely without the jerky motions and the other stuff. The other thing they also did with that is they increased their traction control. So what that really does on this machine is it's going to match the idle speed with the hydraulic speed as you're driving it to give you the maximum that you can get out of the machine no matter where you're at with the throttle. Now this is the wide track TX1000. When you're looking at the numbers on the Dingos, the 1000, 1300, 2000, 700, whatever it might be, that is the operating weight for the machine. So the numbers do mean something there. The wide track here that we have with us is going to be the most popular machine versus the narrow track, especially with our clientele. The reason for that is you're digging up less. The footprint, I believe you're at 4 pounds per square inch with the wide tracks versus the narrow tracks. So coming over to the back, we're going to get into a little bit more of what I love about it. The new controls here, like I was saying with the traction control, you can operate this one-handed with ease. If you can see the joysticks there, that is great. And then with the float, the other thing I love that they did for the auxiliary hydraulics, if you're using a power rake or whatever, engage it. You got a foot pedal down here to hold on. Now your other hand's free. You can concentrate on the attachment and where you're using it and how you're using it. So you got the hydraulic lockout up here. You got low and high speed auxiliary hydraulics. You got the throttle right here, the instrument cluster. We're not going to get into it a bunch, but there's a lot of cool little features in there that you control with the 3 buttons here. You have the normal float, and then of course the driving. We went over the foot pedal. Now the 1000 and below have their own manual parking brake here. So keep that in mind. The 1300, 2000s, when you see those videos, you're going to see it's more of a hydraulic lockout like the bigger skid loaders, which is great. You got the diesel on this side, hydraulic tank on this side. You also have the sight glass here. So as the operator's running it, it's easy to check out the hydraulic fluid the whole time you're using it. You got the fuel gauge up here. So getting into it a little bit more with the wide tracks, well, the tracks in general, they upgraded the whole track system on all the Dingos to mimic a regular skid loader. So you got the regular drive sprocket here, the adjustments done by grease, of course. The nice thing for serviceability, or everybody hates when the track flies off, is the drive sprocket is actually in 2 pieces to make it easier to get the track on or off, whether you're on the site or just replacing them for maintenance purposes. All right, so before we get a little bit more into the engine, on each Dingo, they have these red cylinder safety, I call them safeties here. So when you put this up to access the engine cover and stuff, you just remove these 2 pins, slide this onto the cylinder itself, put the pins back in. That way, if anything would happen, somebody bumps the controller or whatever, all the weight goes down on these, which I can show you right here. It's not going to go anywhere. Weight's on there. You're safe to look at it. So we're going to jump into it here. I already had this one in. This here is the Yanmar engine that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. So this one is a 23.2 horsepower Yanmar. Any engine before January 1 of 2025 was a 25 horse Yanmar. With the turbo and the smaller horsepower, you're not going to feel a difference with the hydraulic flow and everything like that. So it is a Tier 4 engine. With the Tier 4 engine, of course, the biggest question we get with machines like this is the serviceability of the engine. Now you can see with this up, the very little we did, you can pretty much get into anything. Dipstick to check the oil level. It holds 4 quarts. I think it's 3.8 to be exact. And then there's 2 bolts to remove the sides here that you can absolutely get to anything and everything that you would need to. On this cover here, this is where you would access the battery at. The nice thing with this cover here, if you're one of the guys that leave your stuff out on the job site just about all the time, you can lock the hood, nobody can get in there. And it also has the battery cutoff switch, so you don't have to worry about anybody playing with it, trying to do anything they shouldn't while you're out there. So that was a quick overview of the engine. Let's get into the hydraulics. So you're running 3,000 PSI on the hydraulics. Low flow, you're going to be at 4.9 gallons per minute. High flow, you're going to be at 13.2 gallons per minute. With the system itself, the reservoir itself is 8.6 gallons, and then the whole hydraulic system added up all together is 11.5 gallons or 11.5 gallons capacity. All right, so let's dig into the tracks themselves a little bit. You can get 2 different style tracks on the Dingo. The first one is, they call it the B style tread. So that one is the one that comes standard on the Dingos. Now the other one they offer is a turf friendly tread. It's not as aggressive. It doesn't dig in as much if you're driving through people's backyards or stuff, doing stampcrete, getting ready for patios, other things like that. So there's a dual hydrostatic pump that actually controls the actual tracks themselves with the drive sprocket. The biggest thing, like I was saying earlier, is what they call the traction control on the new Dingos. And what that does is it'll adjust your track speed to maximize your speed without giving up running an attachment off the front with the auxiliary hydraulics or bogging the engine down just from turning. So that's one of the greatest things about this. Driving it, you can literally one hand drive it without any issues. Getting into the dimensions themselves of the machine, that's some of the most questions we normally get about these machines. So ground clearance, you're going to be 5.9 inches. The narrow track is 6 inches wide track 9 inches wide. That's going to take your pounds per square inch onto the ground. It's going to make it about 2 pounds less per square inch on the wide track. So you're about 6 with the narrow, 4 with the wide tracks. So like I said before, the 1,000, that's your operating weight. That's what the machine will operate. So dump height, you're looking at about 60.3 inches. Reach, fully raised, you're at 23.3 inches. Ground speed, you're at a booming 4.1 miles per hour, which doesn't seem like much, but out on a job site, that's moving on a stand-on skid loader. It's going to let you get your product to and from wherever you're going in a quicker amount of time. I hope you are excited as I am. I hope that video showed you a little bit of why I love these new Dingos, whether it be the 1,000, 1,300, or even the 2,000, which you'll be seeing videos for them down the road. If you have any other questions on the Toro Dingo, they are available at any of our locations at Power Pro Equipment. Feel free to give us a call. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the other Dingos.
Power Pro, the power you need.